Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to start your budget. This is all about known expenses, okay? What is coming? So like for me, for example, years ago, I knew that we were going to need to move, so we set up a moving fund, right? We knew that we were going to need, certain things, and they were going to cost a certain amount, a general idea. Or if we had a vacation, like the cruise we just took, I set that up as a goal, which then shifted the rest of my budget. But back to the original budget, the main core budget. Your core budget is basically a roadmap for your money. That's what it is. It's a roadmap for your money. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how will you get there? That's it. That's what it is. We use the word budget because it's easier to say, but it's essentially a roadmap. It really is. You say, okay, I'm here and I make this much and this is how much I've been spending, but this is what I want. Okay. This is how you get there. That's basically it. It's all about how. Okay. So let's say for example, next year I want to go to Florida, right? I want to go to a Florida vacation, beach, hotel, airfare, all those things. Before I can even start planning that, what do I have to do? Look at my budget. Well, what if I don't have a budget? Then you set up a budget. So to set up your budget, you look at your income. Once you have that decided, you look at where you're spending stuff. You decide what stays and what's going to change. Once you decide what's going to change, then comes the kicker. You then get to decide where your money goes. And a lot of people skip this step, and that is where it's easy to fail. If you just skip over this and just say, oh, okay, I see where my bills are, and then you pay your bills, but you don't do anything with the leftover money, that's where the mistake's made. Do something with that leftover money. Make a plan, okay? Whether it's with cash envelopes, my personal preference, or whether it's with just a general list that you make over here and you keep track of it, or you keep it on a PDF in digital format. It doesn't matter how you do it, but you have to make a plan. So when it comes to starting a budget, there's a few things you've got to factor in. You've got to factor in your income. You've got to worry about where's the money going. And then you've got to worry about set expenses and then your more random expenses. So income's pretty easy. Obviously, it's whatever money you're making. Whether that's from a job, side gig, wherever you're making your money, write that down. Then, after you've got that written down, take a look at your bank account, wherever you're spending your money. Where are you spending your money? Some people, they know right away. Some people are like, I know where I spend my money. I know I spend my money at Target, Chick-fil-A. That's pretty much it, right? There are others who have a little bit more of a scattershot approach to spending, and their spending could be all over the place. Who knows? So that's why it's important to maybe look back the last month or two. If you're not sure where you're spending all that money, look. Where did you spend it? Was it all on fast food? Was it on last minute purchases online? Was it the thing that was super cute at the end of the Target dollar spot? Like, where is everything going? Once you have a good idea of where it's going, then you got to make your decisions. Before your cash envelopes, what you need to do is look at your set bills. Now, in my shop on my blog, biancabudgets.com, I have a bill tracker. And that thing is so useful. That form is so useful. It is good for a whole year. And then, when you buy it once, I think it's $5. You buy it once and you can just reprint it and use it forever. It's fantastic. I keep all of my items on there. So here's my bill tracker. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if it's in focus, but that's my bill tracker. And I use that each month. I keep it in my folder. Each month I pull it out and I kind of check off as I've paid things. So before you can decide what you're doing with the money, you have to decide how much of that money is going towards your bills. After you've got your income and after you've tracked your spending, the next step is to look at your bills. Use the budget tracker, bill tracker that I've created, or something similar, Write down all of your bills, the expenses, the due dates. Add them all up. And when I say bills, I mean your monthly bills, like rent or mortgage, utilities, phone, all those kinds of things that every month are the same. If you have utilities that change like I do an average. So let's say that maybe my water bill is $82, but some months it's like $90 and some months it's like $130. I have three main ones. I have water, I have gas, and I have electricity. To think for a second. So those three, what I do is I take a basic average. I do about, I think it was like 100 per each. Now, the way that they work is one's usually lower and the other's higher, right? Depending on the season. And so they end up leveling out. So 300 for me, for all my utilities, is pretty average. I normally have leftover money, but sometimes I don't. But that gives enough cushion so that every single month I'm not having to reevaluate my budget, if that makes sense. And I make a plan. If I have money left over from my utilities at the end of the month, or the beginning of the month, when I pay all my utilities, I do something with that money. I don't go, oh yay, I have extra money, and then that money gets spent on like ice cream. No, like I make a plan. Okay, if I have extra money this month from my bills, where is it going to go? And then you make that plan, and then you follow through with that plan, and that way that money doesn't just go missing. So that's key number 3, is assess your bills. Look at them all, add them up. Once they're added up, divide by 4. Once you're a month ahead on bills, check out that video. Once you're a month ahead on bills, then what you'll be able to do is when you divide that money by 4, now you know that is how much each paycheck, if you're paid weekly, that you have to take out. Obviously, if you're paid bi-weekly or bi-monthly, use your discretion to figure out how many you have to divide that by. But let's say if you're bi-weekly, right, so it's twice a week, usually twice a month you get paid, you would then divide that full amount by 2. But in my example, we're going to do weekly pay because that's how I get paid, and that's the easiest thing for me to explain. So if you're weekly paid, you then take your full bill amount for all your bills for the month and divide by 4. For easy math, let's say our bills are $2,000. Divide that by 4. So $500 a week. When your paycheck comes in on Friday, or whatever day you're paid, you then take $500 right off the top. When it's taken off the top, you look at what's left. Let's say you have $200 left, okay? So you have $200 left after you've taken that $500. You ask, what do I do with that $500? Easy. Make a bill envelope specifically for bills. And every time you take that $500 out, you stuff your bill envelope. That way it's in a location that you can find it, but you cannot easily access if you're out and about shopping, okay? Keep it not with you. Now you know how much you make a month, right? Because you've looked at your income. What you do next is you subtract your monthly bills. The number you have left over is what you are going to have to disperse between your cash envelopes and your savings goals. If you're wondering, gee, Bianca, how in the world am I going to decide on my cash envelopes? I have an answer for you. The weekly bill pay method is all centralized around the idea of you have a chunk of money you've now saved from the month prior, and then you pay all those bills on the 1st for the upcoming month. How you get that money is dependent on your situation. I have some ideas and a secret method there over here in the eye. If you go look for how to get ahead on your bills, I have a video all about that, and that will talk to you a little bit more in depth about how to get a month ahead to then implement this budget. Easy peasy. But for me, the budget constitutes 3 parts. The budget constitutes the bill portion, where you have your monthly expenses. The second is your cash envelopes, which is going to be your monthly, really more like weekly, depending on how you're paid, monthly or weekly expenses, right? So this is your bills. Then you have your expenses. Then you have the third and most important is your savings and your goals. Those are the three components for a successful budget in my book. Is you're going to have bills, your expenses, and then your savings goals. So what you do is you use the bill tracker. You write down all of your bills per month, and that's like rent, utilities, phone, car insurance, Netflix, whatever you're paying every single month that has a generalized set amount. Once you have that written down, you divide that amount by 4. That number you come up with, that's the number that you then use for your weekly bill pay method. This is where you decide, okay, now that I know how much I'm making, I know how much I'm spending, I know where I'm spending it, where do I want to spend it? Because that is the key. The key is, where do I want to spend it? Not where did I spend it or where should I spend it. Where do you want your money to go? Because that's the key. It's what you want and where you're hoping to get that matters. So if you're hoping to buy a new house, pay off your house, move, if you're having a baby, maybe you want to have certain things in place for that. If you're single like me and you have kids, maybe you want to start a college fund. Maybe you want to start a room makeover fund. Like, it doesn't have to be anything enormous. It can be something as simple as a backyard project. You know, we're all stuck at home this year. Maybe you want to, spice up your backyard. Maybe you want to get some new lawn chairs. Maybe you want to try to actually find a pool. Anybody find a pool? Let me know. I can't find them anywhere. But whatever it may be. Maybe you want to spice up your backyard. Maybe you want to spice up your house. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. Endless limitation. There's no limitations. The possibilities are endless. You literally could do anything. So step 1, income. Step 2, where's it going? Step 3, where do you want it to go? So when you're sitting down, you can use my goal setting worksheet. It's online. You can find it on my blog, biancabudgets.com. That helps, but you can also use paper. It doesn't really matter. Mine just helps kind of guide you along what you're doing and what you're writing down. But in theory, you just sit down and you say, okay, where do I want to be? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 6 months, doesn't matter. Wherever you want to be. Where are you going? Then you figure out, okay, how am I going to get there? What are my goals? What are upcoming expenses? Are your tags due soon? Are you going to need a new car in the next 3 years? Are your kids going to college in the next few years? Like, what is coming? Are there birthdays coming? Are there trips coming? Are there vacations coming? Are there house improvements? Are there, what is coming? Okay. Obviously, everything is not known. That's why you have an emergency budget. Check out that video up in the eye. I have a video all about setting your emergency fund and what it could be for and how to use it and all of that. So check that out. But personally, like I said, I choose cash envelopes. I see the money. It's also harder to spend it. You can't be out shopping and spend that money because it's here or wherever it's at. It's not with you, so you can't spend it. So that right off the top takes off impulse buying. You can't impulse spend it because you don't have it with you. Best thing ever. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So with budgeting, once you know what you're making and you know where you've decided to spend it, or you know where you've spent it, the next thing is, okay, where are you going to spend it? So this is going to be individualized, obviously. Each person's going to have a different opinion on where they want to spend it, how they're going to spend it, where they want to put it. But I'll give you some basic ideas to kind of get the ball rolling. And then, of course, you can adjust as needed. For me, the basis core cash envelopes are groceries, gas for your vehicle, household. Now, when I say household, I'm talking anything household. You can get very specific in this. You really can. There is endless combinations of cash envelopes. There is no right answer. I tell you right now, there's no right answer. You could have a bathroom budget and a living room budget. You could have a million budget. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's just based off of your personal preference. For me, I realized having a couponing budget and having a households budget, having a pet budget, and having all these different little budgets just wasn't working for me. It was a little bit too much math and moving things around for me to regularly maintenance and keep on top of. So I decided I'm just doing a household budget. It's going to be anything for the house. Toilet paper, dog food, diapers, wipes, plants for the front porch, whatever is for the house. That is what I use that money for. But that's just my definition of a household budget. Yours may be different. You might want to use the household budget for house repairs, and then have a separate budget for home decor, and then have a separate budget for pet, and then have a separate budget for like bathroom essentials. I don't know. That's the beauty of budgeting. You can do literally whatever you want. It can be as absolutely personalized as possible. It's probably the most personalized thing in your life. So it's important to give it that amount of time, though, that gravity, that focus, because it is important. And I think a lot of people don't take it as seriously as they should. So when it comes to the budget, you can tweak it, change it, move it all around, have as many cash envelopes as you want. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're following whatever method you've set up. That's what matters. So back to my example. So groceries, gas, household, kids, and yearly expenses. Those are my 5 expenses. And blog. I just added that one though. I have a blog one. But the groceries is self-explanatory, anything groceries. You can have a eating out budget specifically set aside for eating out. I have done that, and it has worked. Because of the pandemic, we haven't been eating out, so I nixed that. That's the other beauty of a budget, is it's so personalized that you can change it at any time. If you decide, oh, I don't need that as much, or I'm not using that as much as I was, you can do all kinds of customizations. You can remove money from a budget and move it to another budget. You can completely get rid of an entire cash envelope. You can bring in a new cash envelope. You can split one into multiple cash envelopes. Like, you guys, the possibilities are endless. They really are. So for me, we used to have a fun budget, an entertainment budget, and a eating out budget. Now, because of the pandemic, we haven't been doing any of those things. So what I did was, during one of my normal monthly looks, I removed those because I knew the next few months we weren't going to be using them. So that was more money that I could put elsewhere rather than just letting it sit. You could, again, this is where personalization comes in. You could have just let it sit there and accumulate so that when we do start going out, you would have a nice, good, healthy stash happening. Possible. Totally could have happened. I decided not to do that. What I decided to do was move that money. I decided to up my gas, and I decided to up my grocery, and I decided to up my household. That's what I chose to do with that money. But you, of course, could have chosen any other option. You really could. I knew that we would be driving more because we want to get out of the house and we can't go anywhere. So we would go on long drives. We'd go drive around our lake that's here locally and just get out of the house. So I knew the gas would go up. And I also knew groceries would go up because we're eating at home more instead of eating out. I also knew that household things would go up because we're home normally all day because I have daycare in home. But I still knew there would be things that we'd be going through quicker, like hand sanitizer and hand soap and things like that. I knew they were going to add up. So I went ahead and upped those budgets. But you easily could have done anything with that money. You could have added a whole new cash envelope. You could have put it towards your savings. You could have done all kinds of things. You could have put it towards your emergency budget. All kinds of things could have been done with that money. So that's the beauty of budgeting, is that there's so many things you could do with it. Now, this has been done before by many people, but I have my take. I hope that my take will help a little bit. We'll see.